If you think you can coast into 2026, think again. Insights EDU is coming February 17th to the 19th, 2026, and it's taking over Fort Lauderdale for a beachfront experience. It's the event that will flip your marketing and enrollment strategy on its head. 3 days, over 65 expert speakers, and over 40 sessions. Zero fluff. Just powerhouse strategies from the most anticipated platforms like Google, Reddit, Meta, MIQ Digital, and the most forward-thinking schools in the nation. You'll get the real wins, the bold ideas, and the hands-on tactics to grow programs, drive engagement, and create the student experience today's modern learner demands. The question is, are you ready to lead, or will you get left behind? Mark your calendar, bring your team, and secure your spot at insightsedu.com. That's insightsedu.com. Early bird pricing ends December 15, 2025. See you in Fort Lauderdale.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. This is Dr. Joe Salustio back with you on another episode, and I'm feeling a little rusty today. I haven't podcasted in a little while. I was like, oh God, I got to do a podcast today. I'm a little out of practice. I've had a week off, in other words, people have rescheduled or not been able to make these podcasts. So then I don't know what to do with myself because I record every day, Monday through Friday at 12 Central, same bat time, same bat channel, daily. So all of a sudden I haven't been having these conversations all this past week, and now I feel unfulfilled. So I'm so happy that my guest today is here. And in fact, we met 9 months ago, feels like, no, maybe 7 months ago. In Philadelphia at the Mill States Commission Conference for Higher Education, their annual conference. Shout out to my friend, Dr. Heather Perfetti, the president and CEO of Middle States. It's doing great work to serve our institutions. And as we see a myriad of challenges facing us today, one of those specifically being artificial intelligence, it just is, I think, a benefit to bring on companies, organizations, and voices to tell you what they do and how they can help us, your average higher ed administrator who's overworked and still passionate about serving students, ways that we can improve the educational experience. So no pressure now that I've worked them up big time. And you'll find that you'll find the, I don't know what you call it, but the cliche or hint I dropped at the beginning about me being rusty. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is. His name is Rusty Cowher. He is the co-founder and CEO at Scholarly. Rusty, welcome to an EdUp. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, Joe. Excited to chat today. Yeah.
You've just had another kid. Congratulations. That's always exciting.
In March, my wife and I welcomed our second kiddo into the world. It's been a busy spring, early summer so far in my household. Oh.
Well, that's truly congratulations. It's always all about families. Let's start out by talking about Scholarly and what you do exactly and who do you serve, to give us that baseline.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're Scholarly. So we are a modern AI-powered faculty lifecycle platform. And what that means is we serve as kind of one centralized database for all faculty information at an institution. We manage all the really unique workflows that faculty go through in their life cycle, like a tenure process, activity reporting process, sabbatical applications. Faculty are very, very different from a standard employee, and so we really serve kind of all those unique aspects. And then for faculty, we try to make it a really simple. Faculty are super busy, they're overworked, they're doing tons of different things, and we try to make those processes as simple and streamlined for faculty as possible. The thing that's really exciting, I think, about what we're doing is we are AI native and really have been building the platform with an eye toward how AI can streamline academic operations, can streamline the faculty lifecycle, and it's a really exciting time, I think, to be building software in this space, because things that used to take months can now take minutes with an AI assist. So that's what we're doing, and we're really excited. We're only about a few years old at this point, but we're working with some really exciting institutions and have had many thousands of faculty on the platform at this point.
Yeah, it's a good point, because I think when we talk, I have talked to so many companies, and very rarely, and I mean very rarely, is there a company that has developed software specifically for faculty affairs. I mean, I got to literally go through the catalog of founders and co-founders in my head to even dream up somebody right now, but it is very uncommon. Is that what you found in the space?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's faculty, have historically been underserved by software solutions, and the market, not a lot of other options in the market. I got interested in this space initially. So my father-in-law is a current faculty member, former dean, and was actually just talking to him about, I was leading kind of an AI, data software function at a company, and just talking to him about the tools that they had available. And, he kind of showed me some of the options, and was like, you know what, I think we can do better, especially with the tools that are out there today. And I don't know if it's a character flaw or what, but I tend to get hooked on problems, and so have been unable to let it go since. So. That's how this, kind of found this problem initially, and kind of what we've been building toward.
100%.
I like that because you actually think about the world of faculty and an HRIS system trying to capture all of the faculty information that is so different than your average staff member who's worked at XYZ company, and you can input that information. I mean, think about faculty who catalog the writing, research, and appearances, which could be speaking, could be publications, and then you get you wonder, where the heck do they keep a list of all this stuff? And I mean, that's one of those things. And I've had to hire faculty before, and you see a resume come through with 100 items on it, and you go, how do they remember this? Where do they catalog it? Because I've tried to track down my own stuff, and I don't have anywhere to keep it.
Yep. No, absolutely. And we've seen faculty CVs. I mean, we've seen 100 plus page long CVs. Some faculty are truly prolific, and historically, institutions would often ask faculty, it's like, tell us what you're doing every year so that we, have all this information. We can publicize it, make sure we're getting getting the credit for it. And historically, faculty would often manually enter that stuff one by one into a web platform. Which frankly, most faculty just wouldn't do it because that's really tedious.
That's right.
And then the school doesn't know what the great work that they're doing. But fortunately, that's a place AI can help. And so one of our earliest AI tools was a CV import tool where AI can kind of take all the unstructured things in a 50-page Word document and really turn that into data that can be maintained, exported for new CV needs that the faculty member might have, and also enable the institution to have, be able to access all of that and be able to say, hey, here's all the great work that our faculty are doing. I mean, I'm impressed every day by a lot of the faculty that we work with. I think it's one of the great pleasures of my job is getting to work with some of these tremendous individuals. And so trying to make that easier for them to keep track of all that work, and then for the institutions as well.
Can you give me an example? Because, when I and when others we talk to, let me rephrase. We think about artificial intelligence, and we know that we need to use it, or that it needs to exist. And then somebody comes around to us and says, well, we need AI for that. We got to get some AI. And I've joked before, it's like, what is that? Like you go to the grocery store and just pick some AI up off. Like, no, we have products and services and vendors who are embedding artificial intelligence in their product. Can you give us a use case of, how could I as a faculty member go, oh, there's AI in this? How could you explain that to me in a way that I would go, oh, I see?
Sure. So I think, let me think of a couple. I mean, that CV import example is a good one, where historically you had to manually type all this stuff in. Well, with AI and AI Assist, we can cut that down from, it might take over a day to do that for some of these long CVs, and now it takes minutes.
So I can take my CV. So basically what you're saying is I can take my CV
You just
and I'm
copy and paste it
uploading
into
it.
the tool. You copy
Yep.
and paste it into the tool, and it will import it for you.
And it pulls out all the different line items and enters them in with
Exactly.
dates and times and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Another really good thing that we just launched that I think is probably one of my favorite AI use cases is one thing we've learned in higher education is that every institution and schools and departments within an institution, they're all different, and the way they operate is all different. And so the software that we provide needs to be adaptable to that. And historically, take a big institute, a big R1 that might have a lot of different schools, a lot of different departments, and everyone has their own tenure process that's a little bit different. Setting up those workflows in a software platform could take over a year, just tremendous amount of time, because those tenure processes, they can have 10 to 20 steps, a lot of committee reviews, hundreds of documents.
Yikes!
Yeah, yikes. Well, one of the things we just launched is you basically load your faculty handbook and you tell the AI, it's like, build me the tenure process for the School of Medicine. And the AI will build you that template, customized to your process. And so that takes 30 seconds, used to take weeks, months to do that. And so, there's a lot of things in academic operations and the faculty lifecycle that were just really manual because there weren't good tools kind of built for purpose for that. And really our job is to help institutions solve those with AI.
What about faculty evals? When I hear about faculty and faculty problems, it's like faculty evaluations, they're different. They're not similar than your staff evaluations typically, because it's about something completely different. It's about teaching workload, or it's about research or whatever. How do you handle faculty evals?
Great question. So yeah, faculty evals, as you said, totally different than a standard employee, staff or employee. So, if you think about yourself or, going through an evaluation at an employer, it's like, well, how did you do this year? And you do well, good or bad, you may get a slight raise or associated with that. With faculty, they're doing all these different activities, this different work across teaching, research, service, and the work that they're doing is very different, and then also the data associated with that is also very different, and there are a lot of kind of downstream needs for that. Like I said, like marketing for an institution, or awards that might be given out to faculty. And so you really need a dedicated platform that is kind of suited for capturing things like courses taught, presentations, publications, and then really also integrated with the other systems across campus, because the last thing a faculty member wants to do is tell the school the courses they taught when the school already knows all of that. We liken it to like doing your taxes. The government already knows almost all the information they need to about your taxes. Like, there's no need for you to re-provide a lot of that information. So we really focus on a lot of that data integration. So information is pre-populated for faculty. They don't need to re-enter anything. And it's really suited to, the specifics of the work that they're doing. And that might look different for a medical school, versus a business school versus a law school or a college of arts and sciences. There's also nuance kind of within the different types of faculty.
I think about things like this, just like it's 100 questions circling through my mind. I'm trying to pull out the most important ones right now. There are a lot of characteristics or nuances of how faculty work, or like a workload, right? Some faculty might be full-time teaching faculty. Yep. You have part-time faculty. You might have research faculty. You might have teaching/research faculty, and that changes by term sometimes, by the number of courses that they touch, the number of students in those courses, and then the faculty contracts that have to be maintained along with those, right? Because depending on, and everybody says faculty contracts, and you start to think, oh, look, we all have the same faculty contract. No, some are based on retention, some are based on total students in a course, some are based on the number of courses, some are based, right, tenure, all these things. That's a confusing space and takes a tremendous amount of management, people management, manual data management. How do you solve that in some way?
I think our goal is to help. Solving it is a tricky.
Help manage it.
We help to more effectively manage it. And A lot of what you described, a thoughtful data management approach can go a long way to, streamlining a lot of that. There's always going to be, administrative, kind of work
Yep.
needed to manage those processes. And we look to kind of assist those administrators with the work that they're doing. And we spend a lot of time with our partners on, helping them think about, the data fields that they're using, the data management needs that they have, the workflows, and how that all ties together. So I think the like kind of consultative mindset is really how we approach a lot of our partnerships, and helping them say, hey, we've seen this institution do this really well over here. Is that something, you might think about in terms of streamlining this aspect to your process? So yeah, I think it's never going to be, because faculty are unique, it's never going to
Yeah.
be totally simple, but as much as we can, we try to simplify and streamline those things, and bring best practices that we've seen around higher education.
I think that's important. I've been in conversations myself where it's like, well, wait a minute, who taught that last course? All right, we got to go back. We got to go look in the SIS and figure out who taught that course, because nobody can remember. Let's export a list of all the faculty and all the courses that they've taught. Well, who has that data? Who's got that, and who's looking at it? And that, how do you surface it? So visualization is a big part of this, and being able to see this data at a important, I don't know if it's real time or not, but being able to see data, and being able to make quick decisions, or how many courses did this faculty member teach over the last year? And I need to know right this second, not take half a day to figure that out with some database administrator who's got to go into my system and find out.
So reporting, the kind of decision-making needs and reporting needs for institutions around this data is critical. I think it's a lot of the big area that we support. So we do have, kind of the visual dashboards that you'd see with like a Tableau or Power BI, some of the bulk data exports. The thing that I'm super excited about with reporting, though, is AI. So we have an AI assisted reporting tool where you can just say, how many faculty did we have last year? Build me, who taught this course last year?
Now you're talking.
Build me a stacked bar graph of our faculty by rank and how that's changed over the last decade. And so that works today. It takes often 10 to 15 seconds to generate an output from a question like that. And the technology to do that still under a year old, I would say, just generally in the world. But I think it's the future of ad hoc reporting questions like that. Because for non-technical users, like if you got a dean who just wants a quick answer to something, the ability to just go in and type a question. I mean, all of us have probably used ChatGPT at this point. It's very powerful. So that's part of what we're bringing too, is AI kind of capabilities around reporting, data, questions like that.
So when you think about, sort of I always talk to companies and say the problem that you solve, and the problem that you solve, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but if I think about faculty data, I might have some faculty data in my CRM. I definitely have it in my student information system, right? Because it's going to be tied to my students and courses and credits and all of that. I probably have all that faculty data, or a copy of all of that in my LMS, because that's where the grades are and all that stuff is coming from. I may have it in whatever alumni engagement platform I have, because some people give to a program that had a specific faculty member and have that tie. I definitely have faculty data in my human resource system. So now I've got it in 4, 5, 6 different systems. Is the problem you're solving centralizing all of those disparate faculty data pieces, because each of them is connected to different stuff, and bringing it all together in one place?
Mark your calendars now for February 17th to the 19th, 2026. Because if you miss this, you'll be playing catch up all year. This is the future unbound, and the most important higher ed marketing and enrollment management conference of 2026. Insights EDU is taking over Fort Lauderdale, where Google, Meta, Reddit, MIQ Digital, and top institutions nationwide we'll pull back the curtain on what's next. Are you ready to adapt or be left behind? Insights EDU 2026 is where leaders become game changers. Register now at insightsedu.com. That's insightsedu.com. Early bird pricing ends December 15th, 2025.
You've got a great depth of knowledge on faculty data systems. So yeah, that's usually our starting
This comes
point.
from personal experience trying to get stuff.
Usually our starting point is exactly that. We kind of do some discovery, and say like, where are all the systems that this lives around campus? And then we invest a lot of time and resources to pull that data into the platform. Fortunately, again, there's been a lot of technological advances to streamline that work, but our platform is not valuable if it's not interconnected with that data and giving you a source of truth on all those data points. So with some of the institutions we've worked with, they've had over 10 different systems around campus that have faculty data. And so, it's a lot of work to pull all that in, but it's so much more valuable once you get that kind of synthesized view. So, yeah.
Who's looking at this? Is it the provost, right? When you go and you work with partners, is it your provost that says, yes, I need it. This is the system I need because it's going to make my job easier? Is it the deans of colleges? Is it individual faculty members? I mean, who's going, wow, this sucker's great. I got to have it.
Like everything in higher education, it depends.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
Ultimately, typically the decision kind of rolls up to the provost and the provost office. But we've had individual faculty kind of surface this to their leadership, department chairs. But usually, I'd say it's deans, kind of associate deans, folks in the provost office who have the kind of purview to see how all of this could impact processes and things across the institution or across the school. But that's part of what makes me excited is we've literally had individual faculty reach out and say, hey, is this something, I just went through a promotion process or my annual eval is super painful. Like, I'm going to raise this to my leadership, can I get a demo? We have kind of different user experiences to support all of those different stakeholders that you identified. But I'd say most of the time at provost or dean's office will kind of have that seat to see, be sourcing software and things like that.
What about your retention folks? If I was in retention or advising, boy, I would want to know what's happening along with this because that's going to help me become smarter and better about retention, right? If I know that this faculty member has taught this many courses and on the 10th course, we saw a reduction in retention. Maybe at 9 was the sweet spot for that faculty member, and the retention was at 90% because that last course tipped them over and they couldn't focus on the student. There's so many things and ways you could think about this data. Do you have retention folks yet going, hey guys, make me one of these?
We haven't had any retention folks reach out directly, but I think what you're getting at is there are a lot of stakeholders who are who need this information. So. Maybe one of the favorite kind of examples is we did a project with Valparaiso University that they kind of published a report on recently, where they're looking to better connect faculty with industry in the region. And their external development, kind of external relations team was trying to find experts in their faculty to connect those with grant opportunities with industry partners. And they're not the folks in that office are not experts on every area of research, right? And so we built an AI tool to basically give faculty different expertise tags that you could then say, hey, I need a list. This company's approached us. I need a list of experts on bioinformatics or whatever it may be. And then the AI will actually kind of sort through all the different data, publication history that faculty may have had and say, hey, here's 3 faculty members who might be a good fit for this opportunity or this, this NIH grant that you're looking at. So, and then same thing with like the marketing teams, like, hey, we want to publicize the great work that our faculty are doing. They're also kind of downstream consumers of this data. So that's like the structuring, the communication of this information is a huge part of what we do.
Once you centralize this data, is there a mentorship piece here? Because I've got all the data together. Like, can I say, you know what, Rusty's just crushing it. He's doing all this stuff, and I got a new faculty member coming on. I should probably connect these two somehow. within the system and see how they develop? Like, is that a capability of some kind?
It is, yeah. So there is kind of the manual search element where you can just look for folks with, newer faculty member and find similar areas of research. That same expertise tagging, actually, another of our partners is going to use that to find for new faculty coming in to say, get me a list of faculty who might be a good mentor for
Mm.
this person based on their research interests. So we haven't done that yet, but it's going to be deployed kind of this fall, and I think it's a great opportunity to better increase collaboration and mentorship.
Yeah, I mean, if you can really centralize all that faculty data, I should be able to see or hypothetically see when I have a weak faculty member or a strong one, if I put them together and I can mark it somehow and I see improvement, because doing that manually is very tough and tracking it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, and there's a lot of different data points you might want to think about when you're making a decision like that. So,
how many data points can you bring in to a system like this?
Oh, geez, hundreds, thousands. Like there's a lot.
Can I say, is it like an open API of some kind where I can come and say, Rusty, look, I want all my grades in here. I want my grades by faculty members so I could see the bell curve or the rubric and who's grading this and who's grading that. And then the next person says, but I want to see every single student that this faculty member has touched. So I want every student every tally mark by student. And you just go, okay.
So, we do take kind of a broad approach where it's like, hey, look, if there's faculty information that would add value for your institution to have in this system, like let's pull it in. Now, one thing you are touching on a bit is there are, and we're in higher education, so responsible data management and responsible AI development is critical. And so the permission aspect of a system like this is foundational. And so I think that's one of the
because you're going to have salary information in here, tenure. You could have disability information. There's FERPA concerns. All of that stuff has to be maintained.
Absolutely. And so compliance. My co-founder and our CTO comes from a background in HR and payroll software. So kind of from day one of starting the company, we've had an eye toward being best in class on that front. And you're absolutely right. There's a lot of sensitive information, and so I think that's another big value that we can bring is you have kind of a audit logged structured permission set around who can view what pieces of that information, and then that can kind of filter down throughout the institution. So department chairs are only viewing certain information for faculty in their department, for example. They're not being able to view that for faculty outside of their department, or for financial information, only a really limited subset of individuals can view that information. So yeah, it's absolutely important.
One of the things I think about too, sorry, because I told you I have a million questions, but where I came from most recently in higher education, I remember going through exercises where we were looking at total headcount, faculty headcount by program. Mm-hmm. And you had some very low enrolled programs that were very heavy on the faculty. And, you get to a point where you're trying to run your business model and you have to make tough decisions on, do we keep this program? Do we need to slim down the faculty? Not to say that this software is used specifically for that use case, but I should hypothetically be able to see total number of faculty by program, or some kind of margin or something that helps me make decisions on whether to hire or not hire, or close or slim or not close and slim. Is that one of the things that you're seeing with your customers, is that you see program management maybe it's program management being the output of the data?
Not so much yet. I think that's something we've talked with a few folks, and that's probably it's on our roadmap to kind of pull in some of that margin and enrollment data. But I think generally, like basically, there are tough decisions that need to be made. In running a higher education institution, we try to just support our partners with the data that they need for whatever decision that they might need to make. But transparently, we haven't kind of gone into that like margin evaluation by
Yeah.
program space. So not to, as of today, we're
But
not
if you
really.
pull in the enrollment data, you'd know, like, I got 20 students in this program and I got 6 faculty members. Like, that's obviously an imbalance. And where do I have to go to find that information if I don't have it readily available? You need your student information system. You need to look at your financial performance. So there's sort of upside when you're bringing on, especially if you have a company that can work with you to bring in certain bits of data that are helpful to you. Because all of us, and you said it depends, use things differently. Even it's funny, a software company or somebody I talk to, I go, what, here's how I might use that. And they go, wow. Because I look at things from an enrollment and financial standpoint, but faculty information and student information is the foundation for what we do. And so
Absolutely. Yeah.
You have to know what's going on if you want to run your college business, essentially, right?
Yeah, no, and I think I think we can play a central role in being, providing that data for data-driven decision making. One other thing you said there that made me chuckle a little bit is I think one of the fun things about building software is and working with a lot of different users is you're always surprised by how people use the platform. So we've had a few cases recently where it's like, I've been here since the first day of the company. It's like, oh, I didn't even know you could do that in Marley. And so I love that. I love the creativity and always keeps us on our toes. So
amazing.
I love finding out new things like that. But as in the world of AI, as you're embedding AI, someone's going to go, wow, if the AI could do X, you go, wow, it can. It can. We just have to configure it the right way, right? So the good thing is that technology products like Scholarly are engineered to evolve with the way that our thinking evolves.
No, absolutely. And I think it's a joy of being an earlier stage company and basically building out new AI use cases with our partners is almost every AI feature that we have has been born because one of our users or admins came to us and said, hey, this is really tedious today. Is this something AI could help with? I'm thinking of one example where one of institutions we work with, some of their chairs had to write kind of templated letters, 60 plus templated letters for their faculty. They already had all the raw ingredients of what needed to go into those letters, and they just needed to kind of format it and turn it into, sentences. The AI probably saved them 40 plus hours with that tool. And so
let's go.
Yeah, we won a lot of fans with the chairs there. But that also speaks, one other thing I'll just call out is I think something we've learned, being in higher education, the responsible development of AI is critical. So not sending faculty data to be trained on an open, ChatGPT or something like that. And then also having a human in the loop is something we pretty deeply believe, where, review the output of what the AI has done, because it can save you, 95, 99% of the time taken, but it still requires human interpretation, human kind of review. That's just something that we believe pretty deeply, and I think is critical in this space. Yeah.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I want to give you, the opportunity to sort of leave it as we close out. We'd like to ask every guest, sort of open mic with us. What else do you want to say about Scholarly? Is there anything that we should have covered that we didn't cover? Anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you? Or just open up, tell us what you want the takeaway to be for the audience.
Yeah, no, I think we hit on a lot of great points, and thanks again for having me on. I think the thing I would leave the audience with is, so many institutions that we talk to today are thinking every day about what does AI mean for higher education? How can we better use it to be more efficient? If that's something that's on your mind, especially when it comes to academic operations, the faculty lifecycle, talk to us, because that is something we're thinking about every day, and we're working with a lot of schools on pulling that AI into their workflows to make things easier. I think we've seen a pretty wide range of, from all the way from real skepticism around, how AI can help to, institutions that are really, really leaning in. And I think some of these tools, for example, that like AI reporting, The schools that really lean in on some of those that adoption and are at the forefront, if you play that out over 3 to 5 years, they're going to be so much more efficient than they would have been otherwise. And but I think that responsible development is, I think, where we can really be a valuable partner. But yeah, I mean, I think that kind of, we hit on a lot of the high points here. We're really just looking to be a good partner to higher education as we kind of move into this new era of AI enabled everything.
It's funny. You made me think of one more thing. I'm sorry, but you mentioned the word skepticism about AI. When you go talk to an institution of higher education, to whoever the main stakeholder is or buyer, are you having to orient them that there is a software specifically built for faculty and show them that it exists? Or is it the polar opposite where somebody says, oh, I knew this faculty software kind of stuff was out there, but we just haven't been able to bring it in yet? Like, how much awareness is there of a system like this that can aggregate all your faculty data into one spot?
I think there's pretty good awareness generally of the concept of a faculty information system. There are some legacy kind of vendors in this space. I think the thing that is new is there's an AI powered version of that. Yeah. And a lot of folks, I think, have not really considered the faculty lifecycle as a place where AI could really add a lot of value. So that's usually the education we're bringing. I'd say generally in the market, there's pretty good awareness of the faculty information system. Yeah.
Yeah, but if AI can supercharge it, that's one way that your team can communicate AI adoption to their stakeholders. That's really easy. Because it's hard. I think a lot of people, when we think AI, like I said, you're going to buy this thing off the shelf and all of a sudden it's got all these AI capabilities, and that's not the way to do it. It's to get with good partners and vendors who are building AI native solutions, and therefore you end up with artificial intelligence at yours. Well, there you have it, everybody. He's said a lot today, and it's been a long time coming. Rusty, it's been a pleasure having you here. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Rusty Cowher. He is the co-founder and CEO at Scholarly. You can check them out. Rusty, what's the website? If we want more information on Scholarly, where do we go?
Yeah. Just go to scholarlysoftware.com, and that you'll find a lot more information there on the platform and what we are and what we do. So,
and you can find Rusty himself on LinkedIn if you want to follow his work and what's going on. I know because I found you as well, so you're easy to find. There you have it, everybody. You've just EdUp'd.
Attention, higher leaders. It's time to shake up your marketing and enrollment strategy. Join us at Insights EDU, February 17th to the 19th, 2026 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a beachfront experience and the best higher education marketing and enrollment management conference. Early bird pricing ends December 15th, 2025. Register now at insightsedu.com. The future unbound is at Insights EDU 2026.